Welcome everybody to a look at another film released by StudioCanal in their cult classics line, and this is 1976's Blazing Magnum. Now, Blazing Magnum was the English, well, I should say English, the UK title for this film, but the Italian title was Shadows in an Empty Room. And yeah, it's directed by Alberto De Martino, who I've only seen one film from before, which was the Blanche film Monster. And yeah, this is another Italian crime thriller from StudioCanal's Cult Classics line. And yeah, it's clocks in at 108 minutes long. Stars the likes of Stuart Whitman, who was in the likes of The Monster Club, The White Buffalo, and Rio Contras, as well as John Saxon, who was in A Nightmare on Elm Street 1, 3, and 7, as well as Enter the Dragon, Black Christmas, Tenebrae, The Girl Who Knew Too Much, and Joe Kidd. And also Martin Landau, who was also in North by Northwest, Frankenweenie, 9, Alone in the Dark, the 1982 film, as well as Remember, as well as Gail Honeycutt, who was in the likes of Eye of the Cat and Fragment of Fear. So, yeah, she's certainly one that I've only really seen in horror films before, so it's nice to see her in a different kind of genre. And yeah, it's about an Ottawa police captain who searches for the person who poisoned his sister, who was attending the university in Montreal. So desperate is he for the revenge that he begins to use his own brutal methods to find the killer. Soon he discovers that not everything is what he thought it was. So yeah, I was expecting a knockoff of Dirty Harry with this, and although there are elements to this film that are in this film, it is also filled with great action and an aspect of giallo to it to help set itself apart. The cast is also really good. It has an engrossing plot with that has also a solid mystery element to it. The pacing is on point, it is well shot, the violence is effective, the score is excellent, and there is a fantastic car chase that clocks in at something like 10 minutes long, which is both thrilling and well executed, as it really does get across the build-up of damage on both cars to one point where the damage becomes too much for one of the other cars, which makes a tyre explode, and then the car itself rolls over. And yeah, it's just a really, really thrilling car chase, and easily rivals some of the other car chases from the 70s. Obviously, not quite as iconic as something like the French Connection, but still really, really good in its own right. So yeah, you get a nice slipcover with this release, but it is the same artwork regardless. And yeah, it's had a new restoration to it. Not sure how much of a restoration. It doesn't say if it's 2K or anything like that, but it is a new restoration. And yeah, you get several art cards with this release, as well as a printed disc. You can see. And yeah, these are the art cards. So they all have Blazing Magnum on the back of each of the art cards, and each of these here. So not the most exciting of art cards, but they do get across some key points in the film, which is also always nicely done. So yeah, overall a really, really good effort as far as I'm concerned, and I really do like the giallo tinged parts to it, which is further accentuated by the fact that, you know, John Saxon was in a couple of giallo films himself, like Tenebrae and The Girl Who Knew Too Much. It's also got a couple of special features on the disc itself. You got Special Sentiments, Alberto De Martino's Magnum Memories, you got City Hunter, interview with film historian Kim Newman, and you got a theatrical trailer as well. So yeah, really, really enjoyable film. Like I said, I was expecting it to be like a Dirty Harry knockoff, but it's, even though, like I said, it's got some aspects of that, you know, it's even using the same kind of gun, but it's, yeah, at the end of the day, its own kind of thing in a lot of ways. So yeah, this is the 7th film that StudioCanal have released in their Cult Classics line, and even though it is another crime thriller from Italy that we've already had before with one of the other releases, it's still another excellent effort in a series of films. So yeah, 7th release from StudioCanal via this line. We've also had the sci-fi thriller The Final Program. We've had the German musical, Linny 1. We've had the neo-western thriller, Extreme Prejudice. I know Imprint Films have also given this a release, but since I already had it on this disc, I didn't see much point in getting the Walter Hill collection with that as well. Then we've got the spaghetti western, Kill Them All and Come Back Alone. Then we have a crime thriller, High Crime, which again is Italian, so this is the one that's more similar to Blazing Magnum, but again, it's still its own film. And finally, the film noir, I, the Jury. So yeah, nice series of different genres there, But we get our first horror film in the next film I'm going to release, which is also directed by Alberto Di Martino, which we're going to review in a couple of days' time, which is The Antichrist. So yeah, hopefully this is going to be good, but I'm a little bit ambivalent because Alberto Di Martino, like I said, I've only seen one other film from him before Blazing Magnum, and that was the Blanche film Monster, which was also a horror film, which this is also a horror film, so I'm a little bit, apprehensive about whether or not this is going to be any good, but hopefully it will be at least half as good as Blazing Magnum, because if it is, then I will at least enjoy it more than the Blanchfield Monster, which I did not particularly like at all. So, yeah, look forward to a review of The Antichrist soon, and yeah, but if you've seen Blazing Magnum before, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, but if you haven't, and you're into Italian crime films, even though technically this is more of a Canadian/American kind of film, because yeah, the lead cast are American at the end of the day, and it is much better to watch this in the English dub rather than the Italian dub, because yeah, most of this will have been filmed in English. It's still a really, really good effort, and yeah, one worth well seeking out if you're into this kind of genre of film, which I definitely am. But yeah, nonetheless, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.